Hey guys, it's Fiona. Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to try a recipe that I've been eyeing for a long time for choux. Today is a testing video, so if you would like to make these for yourself, I will be putting a link in the description for the video where I found my recipe. So without further ado, let's go. I'm going to start by making the filling, which is a custard-based filling. So I'm going to make the custard first. So this recipe needs 60 grams of sugar, 25 grams of cornstarch, 2 egg yolks, and 240 milliliters of milk. In a big bowl, I'm going to separate these eggs first. I'm going to add 60 grams of sugar. And then I'm just going to whisk them together. And then I'm going to add in 25 grams of cornstarch. And then I'm supposed to mix it until it's quite pale in color and kind of fluffy. Okay, so now on a stove, I'm supposed to heat 240 milliliters of milk to 80-90 degrees. However, I don't have a thermometer, so I'm just going to be testing the temperature with my hands. It's going to be hard to estimate what 80 to 90 degrees is, so I'm just going to take this off the heat before it starts boiling. Now I'm going to stream this milk into the egg mixture and mix constantly so that I hopefully don't get any scrambled eggs. And then I'm just going to put this back into the pot and then transfer it back over to the stove. I'm going to turn on the heat and stir it until it thickens. All that's left is to transfer this back into a bowl and then cool it in the fridge. So I put my custard to a side, and while that's cooling, I thought that I would start on my pastry because it also takes some time to cool, and I thought it would be a little more time efficient. So for the pastry, I need 60 grams of butter, 50 grams of sugar, and also 60 grams of all-purpose flour. It's supposed to be room temperature butter, but I kind of just put it in the microwave because I forgot to take it out ahead of time. So we're going to use microwaved butter instead. I'm going to add the sugar into the butter, and then I'm just going to combine them. So I had originally put the butter over the stove thinking that it was okay to melt the butter like that. But what I didn't realize was half of it was completely melted, but most of it was still completely brick solid. So you probably saw that I put it back over to the stove to melt it even more. But now it's a little too melted. I think it's okay, we'll just roll with this instead. So I'm going to add the flour. Now, It seems okay to me, right? Can't mess up that bad, right? Oh well. Okay, so now with this mixture, I'm going to roll it out between 2 sheets of parchment. We're gonna roll this out to 2 to 3 milliliters thin. That seems about right. So it's pretty uneven. So now I'm just gonna put this into the freezer and wait for it to set. Okay, so while that's in the fridge, I'm going to make the second part of the pastry, or the outside. So I have butter here, salt, all-purpose flour, and then water. So I need water, butter, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but it seems like a bit much to me. So I think I'm only gonna add in half, or about a pinch of salt instead. And then we're going to bring this over to the stove and then bring it to a boil, and then once there are bubbles, I'm going to turn it off immediately. Now I'm going to mix in the all-purpose flour with the spatula. I'm just going to squish it to remove any lumps of flour. I'm going to return this back to the heat for 60 to 90 seconds on medium heat. Okay, so now before I forget, I think I'm going to preheat the oven to about 380-ish degrees. It's been about 10 minutes and I'm going to crack 2 eggs into this mixture. And then we're going to mix. Actually, I think it would be better to mix it with a whisk first. Although it says with the spatula. And this is going to go into a piping bag. So now with this batter, I'm going to pipe these into little snowman-like figures onto this baking pan lined with parchment paper that I have already drawn guides with, just with the pencil on the back. Okay, so these are going to go into my preheated oven for about 20 minutes. See you then. Sooner than 20 minutes because I have to finish making my filling. This is about 180 milliliters of whipping cream, and I'm just going to beat this until it forms soft peaks. The custard that I made previously, I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract to it. Mine is artificial vanilla extract. then I'm going to mix these two together. I was looking around on my counter and I was kind of cleaning up while they were baking, and I looked towards the counter and I saw this mold, and I was like, what is that mold for? And then I realized that I made a really stupid and vital mistake, is that I forgot that this whole thing existed. So basically, now I just have puffs instead of shoes. Anyways, let's check on the puffs in the oven. I'm going to take them out of the oven and then I'm going to let them cool off. Okay, so I took them out of the oven and I was thinking about what to do with this leftover part of the pastry that I made from before. And I didn't want them to go to waste, so I'm thinking that I'm just going to keep them in the fridge for next time if I want to make this recipe again, or maybe if I end up making bread, I can just put this on top of that so I don't have to make this again. I've changed my angle because now that these are cool, all we have left to do is punch holes into them and then pipe the filling into the puffs. So it's the next day and my puffs have been chilling in the fridge and also in the freezer for about 20 hours. So I think it's about time that we can try them. So I made 2 panda ones and then I also made 13 regular ones. So I have 15 in total. So I'm going to cut one up. Pretty evenly filled, and I'm going to try. That's really good actually. So the inside, the custard cream, it reminds me of ice cream, but it's not really sweet. I can't really taste the vanilla, but it's definitely different from ice cream because there's like shards of ice in between the puff. You can see this. And then the outside reminds me, the flavor kind of reminds me of a Madeleine. Yeah, it's really good. And I think if I put that layer of crust on top, then I think it would be more sweet because that's where majority of the sugar was. And if you do like your desserts a little sweeter, I think you can up the sugar level by about 10 grams. And yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I think that concludes this for today. Thank you guys for watching and I hope to see you on my next upload. Bye!